Hello guys. Welcome back to another chess tutorial. Yes, it is me, Vikram Rahul Abhishek Pranav Rajesh. Today I will show you a simple yet effective chess trap that players of any rating will be guaranteed to fall for. It is a variation of the Tennyson Gambit, and I will show you why it is so effective. We will start with a standard opening, King's pawn to e4. Black responds with the Scandinavian defense, Queen's pawn to d5. This is Black's first mistake, and the game is already over for him. The natural move would be to capture Black's pawn. However, in the Tennyson Gambit, we will sacrifice this pawn. We will play knight to f3. Black responds by capturing our pawn, attacking our knight. Now we will move our knight to f5, saving the piece and attacking Black's pawn. To defend the hanging pawn, Black plays knight to f6, bringing the piece to an active square. Next, we will make another sacrifice. We will move our d-pawn to d3. Black is already ahead in material, and so they will accept the sacrifice. Now we can develop our bishop by capturing the pawn on d3. Now you have essentially won the game. Black plays pawn to h6 attacking the knight. What we will do next is move the knight to f7, forking the rook and queen. Black has no options except to capture the rook with their king and leave it in an exposed position. We can move the bishop to g6 to check Black. Black cannot retreat his king because the bishop is now attacking this entire corridor. Black once again has no choice but to capture with their king. Done. Black's queen is now exposed after we sacrificed a knight and bishop. The next move is obvious. We can launch an RT2 PM2 topple M cold launched 3-stage solid propellant silo-based intercontinental ballistic missile to attack Black's remaining pieces. However, if you are a beginner at chess, you can use an anti-tank guided missile instead. In this example, we will use the BGM-71 TOW anti-tank missile launched from an M3 Bradley cavalry fighting vehicle tracked armored reconnaissance vehicle. Now watch very carefully as we maneuver our ATGM to an effective position that can control the board. As you can see, our attack was a success. White now has a material advantage and is ahead in the development of their pieces. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next chess tutorial. Many chess players have experienced the disappointment of a Kh-47M2 Kinzhal nuclear-capable air-launched anti-ship ballistic missile launched from a Mikoyan and Gorovich MiG-31BM supersonic interceptor aircraft wiping out their pieces within a few moves. And it is the result of a common misconception about material versus activity that is easily avoided. Hello guys. Welcome back to another chess tutorial. Yes, it is me, Grandmaster Vikram Rahul Abhishek Pranav Rajesh. Today I will show you how to avoid this opening mistake and destroy your opponent with this simple yet crushing counter gambit. It is a variation of the Queen's Gambit declined opening, and it offers a modern continuation to the Albion counter gambit. Let's look back at the board moments before impact. We can see that White opened with d4, and Black responded with d5, a standard opening. However, after White played c4, the Queen's Gambit, Black decided to accept the sacrifice. This was a fatal mistake, as now Black has displaced a central pawn, allowing White rapid development of their pieces as well as the necessary infrastructure to maintain and operate interceptor aircraft carrying anti-ship armament. After succumbing to capitalistic sentiments of material greed, Black has sacrificed activity and severely crippled himself in terms of counterplay, and there is nothing they can do except helplessly move their pieces until they are inevitably massacred by a nuclear warhead. We can avoid nuclear holocaust by simply declining to capture White's c4 pawn, transposing to the Queen's Gambit declined and significantly increasing our options for defense and counter-attack. We will play e5, the Albion counter gambit. After White captures, we will advance the d-pawn to d4. White plays e3 in an attempt to undouble his pawns. This is a careless move, as it allows bishop to b4 check. White blocks with the bishop. Pawn captures on e3. It appears that we have hung our bishop, so white captures. This will be white's final blunder, as they have now entered the Laskar trap. Pawn captures on f2 with check. White cannot capture the pawn without hanging their queen and is forced to play king e2, allowing our pawn to reach the 8th rank. We will now under promote to a knight so that check is delivered, denying any chance of defense. Rook captures on g1 is not possible as this would allow bishop to g4, skewering the king and queen. White once again must move the king. We continue the attack with queen to h4 check, again forcing white to move the king as g3 would result in queen to e4 check, forking the king and rook. After knight c6, white can only play useless moves in an attempt to prolong the game. Bishop c3, bishop g4, and queen e1. We can now castle queenside with check, and white is completely lost. The rook, queen, bishop, and both knights are now in position to attack the white king. The next move is obvious. We know that chess is a political landmine of illegal moves. For example, launching an RS-28 Samak liquid propellant multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicle equipped super heavy intercontinental ballistic missile is not possible due to the position of our knight on the 8th rank. The International Chess Federation dictates that a piece cannot be moved to a square that is already occupied by a piece of the same color. The spread of the multiple warheads carried by the MIRV-equipped RS-28 Samat would cover the square that our knight already occupies, making this an illegal move that would result in the arbiter founding an international coalition to impose economic sanctions against black. This crippling attack on black's economy would give white ample opportunity to take advantage of the weakened industrial capacity caused by your blunder. Instead, we must maneuver with surgical precision to continue towards checkmate. I will now give you 2 seconds to find the best move. Congratulations to those who found the best continuation. Indeed, in this position, the most effective way to win the game is to employ the stealth, mobility, nuclear deterrence, and first strike capabilities of ballistic missile submarines such as an Ohio-class nuclear-powered submarine armed with UGM-1338 Trident 2 submarine-launched ballistic missiles. With mobility and concealment in black's arsenal, black can now take full advantage of their material and development to punish white's vulnerable position. Now pay close attention as we effectively exploit our strategic advantages to force checkmate.
Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video.
Hello guys.
Thank you to Wargaming for sponsoring this video. Let's say, hypothetically, you clicked that suspicious link while navigating a bootleg Polish pirating website trying to torrent a 240p copy of Top Gear Series 19, alerting a nearby French Charles Leclerc main battle tank of your activities. Its attention has now been diverted towards the total evisceration of your computer from existence. The main battle tank shows up at your doorstep within seconds and is now surveying your computer for structural weaknesses to exploit. What do you do in this situation? Do you call 112? Do you get the Shoban composite reactive armor from the basement and prepare for the worst? Do you run away with your computer and enact the scorched earth policy? Don't be foolish. There is no time for cocking about in this situation. Look into the abyss of those cruel, spiteful eyes. The Leclerc knows no fear. It can only see fear. It can smell your hesitation. It can hear your anxiety. It can taste the fight or flight response happening inside you, and it's beginning to look more like flight than fight. This is the malicious face of one who demands absolutely no association with any concept of morals. To it, the Geneva Convention is merely the Geneva suggestion. There is no telling what it will do next. Who knows what dirty tricks it has up its sleeve? Trench guns, mustard gas, a vial of poison around its neck in case it gets captured, a plan to split up and massacre your army in one decisive cavalry charge. All we know is that it will stop at nothing to facilitate the fateful reunion between your computer and a 7-kilogram, 2-stage long wrought tungsten kinetic penetrator. Indeed, this is the descendant of Emperor Napoleon himself, and it will launch an offensive campaign against your computer with the speed, efficiency, and military prowess that the Blitzkrieg has wet dreams about. Does this sound like someone who has mercy? Do you think it will give you a centimeter of breathing room? No. Our only hope of surviving is to rely on our sharp wits to quickly survey the situation and accordingly formulate a plan. So let's get to it. I hope you've kept up with your main battle tanks reading, because there are several critical pieces of information we should be able to identify from this menacing silhouette alone. We know that the Leclerc is armed with an auto-loading 120mm model F1 Giat CN120-2652 smoothbore gun, firing DM-43 armor, piercing fin stabilized discarding sabot rounds, which can penetrate more than 560mm of rolled homogeneous armor at a range of 2,000 meters at a velocity of 1,740 meters per second. Your computer, on the other hand, has no armament of any kind, and its thin armor can only protect against limited small firearms at best, not a 120mm APFSTS round to the face, which is a problem. So what if we unarmored it? True, your computer has an armor profile that forces the perpendicular projectile impact optimal for ceramic armor, but your computer would probably punch a hole in the ground due to the weight of 8 inches of steel welded to it. Also, the sheer kinetic energy of a 7-kilogram tungsten projectile moving at almost 2,000 meters per second impacting your computer would most likely cause it to simply cease to exist, so this is out of the question. The Leclerc is propelled by an 8-cylinder diesel engine producing 1,500 horsepower, allowing it to reach cross-country speeds of 55 kilometers per hour and can track your computer over a range of 650 kilometers with the use of external fuse tanks. So taking your computer and running also won't work. You are not William Sherman. Do not attempt any scorched earth tactics. You would probably burn down your own computer in the process. Given this information, we realize that defensive tactics are impractical. We will thus take an offensive position and eliminate the enemy ourselves. The Leclerc was designed to withstand multiple impacts by various weaponry over a 60-degree frontal arc. Therefore, as long as the Leclerc is facing you, which it will be, in order to theoretically penetrate this armor, we must use the proper ordnances. These include the most modern iterations of long-rod AFPSDS rounds, which use a kinetic energy penetrator rod made of depleted uranium and can penetrate over 700 millimeters of rolled homogeneous armor, or even tandem charge anti-tank guided missiles, which detonate in 2 stages and can penetrate more than 1,000, almost enough to get something through your thick skull. The only problem with these proposed solutions is that most people do not just leave tandem charge warheads and depleted uranium rods lying around the house. Without these necessities, those layers of composite ceramic armor plates and reactive modules make the Leclerc virtually invulnerable, unless we found a way to bypass them altogether. I can already identify a weakness. Can you? Of course. Most modern main battle tanks lack protection in the roof area. It just so happens that the Leclerc fits this exact description. The roof does not have the raw armor thickness of other more critical areas such as around the cannon breech and gunner sights. Due to its extreme slope, any shots that land there will certainly ricochet, regardless of normal thickness. Thus, the roof armor of the tank is made relatively thin to save weight. This will be the Leclerc's fatal flaw and ultimate undoing. So how do we exploit this weakness? Do we climb up there and hit it with a hammer with speed and power? We have a more sophisticated solution up our sleeves. HESH ammunition. Unlike conventional kinetic energy penetrators, high-explosive squash-head shells rely on a malleable warhead that deforms upon impact, creating a path of plastic explosive that spreads across the surface. The base fuse then detonates this path, causing internal spall